Thanks for joining us here on the CBN News Channel. I'm Ephraim Graham. A weather roller coaster this Memorial Day. For some, a picture-perfect three-day weekend, while others saw their holiday plans drowned in heavy rains and flooding. Incredibly, some had to bundle up because of cold and snow. Along much of the East Coast, people hit the beaches, taking advantage of sunny skies and warm weather.
It is just awesome.
But in parts of the Northeast, it was exactly the opposite. The unofficial start to summer bringing more than 3 feet of snow. It wasn't cold that kept people from barbecuing in Iowa, but massive amounts of rain. Flash flooding made it impossible for people to even leave their homes during the holiday weekend.
We was hoping to have some good time down here. We usually go out in the boats and grill out.
When you think of spring, you think of extreme weather. We had extreme weather last spring. It was hot. This spring, it's been cool, and in the Central Plains, it's been wet.
There were more than 200 severe weather reports this weekend alone. In San Antonio, 3 people died in powerful flooding, and at least 130 people had to be rescued. And out in California, wildfires forced dozens of residents and campers to celebrate Memorial Day in shelters. Officials say a quick-spreading wildfire broke out in the Los Padres National Forest Monday afternoon.
15 engines out here, 3 water tenders, 3 patrols. We have 6 air tankers, 4 helicopters, and 3 crews.
The fire has already charred more than 1,000 acres. The Midwest faces more severe weather this week. Forecasters say there could be more tornadoes, and parts of Oklahoma hit hardest last week are once again bracing for twisters. Republican senators say the Attorney General cannot investigate himself or his office's role in spying on Associated Press reporters. This comes after the president ordered Eric Holder to lead a review of the scandal. Several senators have said there's a conflict of interest, but stopped short of calling for a special prosecutor.
You cannot investigate yourself, and I think it's a total conflict of interest. Allowing the very person that authorized the 2 things that we are very aware of today to investigate whether or not he did that appropriately is inappropriate.
It is a question of classified information. Someone working for our government on our side violated their oath and disclosed that information to the press. What is the government to do if, in fact, that disclosure could endanger our military forces or those who are cooperating with us to fight terrorism?
New York Senator Chuck Schumer said the system is clearly broken, and he and Republican Senator Lindsey Graham will reoffer their proposal for a media shield law. The battle to redefine marriage has been especially intense in the president's home state of Illinois this spring. State senators passed a gay marriage bill on Valentine's Day, and the governor vowed to sign it. But the House has not called for a vote. 20 black members of the House are considered the swing vote. Recently, Heather Sells spoke with Bishop Lance Davis of the Chicago-based African American Clergy Coalition about their strategy to block the vote.
You have managed to hold off a vote in the House for months now, Bishop. Tell us, what has been your strategy?
The first thing we did was to launch an information campaign to all of the constituency of the state of Illinois to make sure that everyone knew what this bill contained. Everyone knew that this bill was going to pass, and we wanted to make sure that our community knew exactly what was contained in it, how it was going to categorically change our definition of marriage, and most importantly, the Bible's definition of marriage. And so we began to hand out flyers and went door to door, and we escalated the campaign by starting robocalls as well as door-to-door campaigns and putting flyers and pluggers on cars the best way we could.
And what has been the response of the African-American community to this information? The
African-American community is starting to find out how really conservative it is as it relates to issues of abortion and as it relates to same-sex marriage. So it's been very encouraging. We've had very few people who expressed any displeasure in what we were doing in our information campaign.
Illinois already has a civil unions law. What would this new bill accomplish?
Absolutely nothing, Heather. This particular bill opens itself up to only the power and strength of the federal law, but it doesn't do anything extra for the LGBT community. The only thing that it does is gives them the nomenclature of marriage.
Now, a lot of LGBT activists have portrayed this issue as a civil rights issue. How are you dealing with that framing of it and talking to the African American community about it?
I think the African American community should be incensed by that comparison. When you look at civil rights, and I just wish that people like Fannie Lou Hamer and Rosa Parks and Ida B. Wells, along with Martin Luther King Jr. and Ralph Abernathy, were here to listen to an argument of sexual choice be compared to vicious attacks by dogs and water cannons and being lynched from trees and burned at the stake. I would really like to hear their take on that.
Now, the legislature is scheduled to adjourn May 31st. Of course, it could extend its session. What is your goal at this point? People
are calling our coalition and going to our website, African American Clergy Coalition.org, and sending us messages of support. And what we want to do is to have them to converge on Illinois, to assist us, to communicate to all of our legislators that we would prefer a referendum so that all of the citizenry of Illinois can vote on such a sensitive issue.
And why do you think LGBT activists targeted Illinois this year?
We pretty much set the tone, I believe, in many areas as it relates to culture, American culture. We symbolize American culture. Again, it's the land of Lincoln. But most importantly, they need to know, the LGBT community needs to know that we've drawn a line in the sand. We're saying enough is enough. We believe that they have the rights that they were asking for through civil unions, and we believe that now we need to start fighting for the rights of those who are involved in the prison industrial complex and those who are involved in substandard schools. We need to fight for their rights.
All right, Bishop Davis, a big week in Illinois coming up. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
A Kentucky megachurch announced it is ending its relationship with the Boy Scouts of America after the BSA announced a new policy allowing gay scouts. Tim Hester, pastor of the 30,000-member Southeast Christian Church in Louisville, says the gay policy is just one reason for the decision. He told USA Today the Boy Scouts have become too polarizing in recent years, and the church would have ended its sponsorship of a local troop, no matter what the decision the Scouts reached. Hester says the church does not need to get caught in distractions and wants everyone to live by biblical standards. Graduating seniors at a Kentucky high school took part in a student-led prayer despite objections. Students and parents gave Lincoln County High School class president Jonathan Hardwick a standing ovation after his prayer. Hardwick closed his prayer in Jesus' name, and many audience members audibly joined in saying amen. 6 students, including one atheist, objected to the prayer. Principal Tim Godby says faculty can't pray publicly on school grounds or at school-related functions, but students are allowed to pray. Godby also said he personally prays for every student every day. A new CNN survey shows most Americans are still opposed to President Obama's health care reform bill. 54% of those surveyed say they are against Obamacare. About 43% support the law. Those numbers are relatively unchanged since Congress passed the law in 2010. Even though the law is set to take effect next year, nearly half of Americans don't know the law still exists. Jennifer Wishon looks at what we can expect.
It's supposed to create jobs, provide health insurance for all Americans who want it, and save money. Instead, the Affordable Care Act for many Americans has already become a source of heartburn.
This is legislation that was 2,500 pages long, now 20,000 pages of legislation.
That's 17,500 pages of new regulations written by bureaucrats on top of an already complex law passed by Congress. And for employers who have no choice but to understand the nitty-gritty in order to make decisions for their companies, the task is overwhelming.
For example, there is the employer mandate, the requirement that businesses with 50 or more full-time equivalent employees provide health insurance or pay penalties. That was a 3.5-page provision that got turned into a 144-page regulation with 44 definitions.
One study predicts Obamacare will put more than 3 million jobs in jeopardy. For now, confusion and uncertainty about the law is stifling economic growth.
So there's a lot of heartburn right now and a lot of nervousness about what exactly the increased costs will mean for their bottom line.
President Obama maintains that Americans who like their insurance plan can keep it, but that's not turning out to be the case. According to a study of 11,000 plans on the individual market, less than 2% comply with Obamacare. That means 98% of plans must change, or the people using them must find new plans. And the Congressional Budget Office now estimates Obamacare will result in 7 million Americans being dropped from their employers' health plans and forced into new health exchanges set up by the law. It's true more Americans will have health insurance under Obamacare, but that will lead to greater demands on the healthcare system. And therein lies another problem.
We know that the government's own chief actuary says that about 15% of hospitals will close as a result of this because they're no longer viable.
Still, even after all 20,000 pages of regulations are implemented, not all Americans will be insured. CBO estimates by the year 2023, 30 million Americans still won't have insurance. And by that time, America will have spent nearly $2 trillion implementing the law.
We're spending a lot of money in helping relatively few people. In many ways, it probably would have been simpler and cheaper just to give everybody money to buy insurance.
Obamacare gives extraordinary discretion to the Secretary of Health. In fact, some 1,000 times, the law gives her power to create definitions and regulations. And that's why the number of pages in the law keeps on growing.
The law is so complex, some wonder if it can be implemented in January. Secretary Sebelius says it will. But many others doubt it. Even some Democrats worry it will be tough to get Obamacare to work and fear it could become a political liability for them in next year's elections. Jennifer Wishon, CBN News, Washington.
More signs Syria's civil war is spilling over into Lebanon. Gunmen killed 3 Lebanese soldiers at a border checkpoint today. The war has divided groups in Lebanon, with Hezbollah helping Syrian leader Bashar Assad, while Sunni Muslims support the rebels. Today's border attack comes after rockets struck a Hezbollah area of Lebanon on Sunday. Meanwhile, U.S. Senator John McCain crossed into Syria to meet and show his support. And the European Union has ended an arms embargo, allowing member states to send weapons to the rebels. Coming up, the mysterious disappearance of a missionary pilot.
Today we're on a field trip to discover what inflation is doing to our paper money. In this hand is a $20 bill, and in this hand is a $20 U.S. gold coin. They used to have the same buying power, but how much can they buy today? In this first basket is what my $20 bill buys: milk, bread, peanut butter, and jelly. And here's what one $20 gold coin will buy: 6 baskets full, worth nearly $2,000, almost 100 times more food, simply by owning gold dollars instead of paper dollars. History shows that the gold coins have been the best way to beat the rising cost of living. So class, the moral is that unless you want to live on peanut butter and jelly sandwiches in the future, you should turn some paper dollars into gold coins now. How and why is explained in a new book, The Great Debasement. Call the number below for a totally free copy. And that's the simple truth.
Help! If an emergency happened right now, you can have help at the push of a button with Medical Alert.
Remember when I took that fall, Mary?
Oh, yes, that was terrible.
Yes, it was. Help! And I thought, what if you hadn't been there? I ordered my Medical Alert the next day.
I can't describe how safe I feel now with my Medical Alert. You didn't know I was wearing it, did you?
Medical Alert is easy to install, waterproof, and covers you inside your home and out.
It helps me feel safe from fires, break-ins.
And of course, a Medical Alert. And if you don't have a home phone, don't worry. They have that covered.
There's always help at the push of a button. Don't wait till you need it.
Get Medical Alert for less than $1 a day. There are no long-term contracts. Order now and get your second button free. Call for your free brochure.
For your free Medical Alert system with second button free, call 800-575-8507.
Where is Jerry Krause? The American missionary to Africa has been missing for more than a month. His family and Christians around the world are praying for answers. Gary Lane has the details.
Jerry Krause, a 54-year-old missionary pilot, was flying his turboprop aircraft from South Africa to Mali last April 7th when he disappeared. Wife Gina is praying he'll return home.
I want my husband back.
She and Jerry have served as missionaries to Africa for more than 25 years. Jerry worked with Mission Aviation Fellowship until the ministry left Mali back in 2009. They remained in the country, and Jerry took a job with a private aviation company.
My husband is self-motivated, very intelligent.
Jessica is one of Jerry's daughters.
He's a central figure to our family and just like a man of God, you know? He's awesome. I love him to death.
He's so solid. He just keeps our family together.
Now Jerry's family is having to rely more on God. Gina says her husband phoned her before departing South Africa and said he'd had some engine problems with the plane. She says she knew Jerry could fix the engines and then be on his way.
He's a little bit of a MacGyver. He likes fiddling with things and is able to get things to work. So he was going to do that, and he was pretty optimistic about leaving.
Then Jerry was on his way back to Mali. His wife and children expected him to refuel in Sao Tome, an island nation at the equator in the Gulf of Guinea. But no one could tell the family if he was seen refueling there. Now the question they're facing, did Jerry experience engine trouble and land the plane safely in a remote region of Africa? Or did something worse happen?
Though we didn't have any concrete evidence, I think rationally there's definitely a lot of different little indications leaning towards a plane crash.
No plane wreckage turned up after rescuers searched the Gulf of Guinea. Not knowing her father's whereabouts or what happened is the hardest part for daughter Alyssa. She says she's come to trust God in everything.
Okay, all right, God, this is all yours. You can, whenever you're ready to tell us where my dad is, that's awesome, but we'll wait for your timing because your timing's perfect.
Jerry's son Nathan says the book of Job reminds him not to blame God for the ordeal.
I'm giving praise to God instead and asking God, like, why did he do this? But not in a demeaning way, but just questioning and waiting for God to answer.
And nearly 2 months later, Gina and the children still wait for a resolution to Jerry's mysterious disappearance.
To this day, we still don't know where Jerry is, but God does.
Gary Lane, CBN News.
Up next, they call it the silent killer, and it is the culprit behind ailments from skin wrinkles to heart attacks. Find out what causes deadly inflammation and how to stop it.
Attention sleep apnea patients. Are you tired of the expense and hassle of getting your CPAP and BiPAP supplies? Are you fed up with dealing with ill-fitting, leaking, or worn-out masks and straps? Are you worried about the effects that unsanitary tubes, cushions, and filters have on your health? If you said yes to any of these questions, Allied Medical Supply Network has the solution to your problems. You could qualify to have your supplies regularly delivered right to your door at little or no cost to you. That's right, no more inconvenience, no worn-out masks and straps, no more unsanitary equipment, just restful sleep. Call Allied Medical Supply Network today to determine if you may qualify to receive your fresh, brand-name supplies at little or no cost. Don't delay. Call us now to see if you are eligible to save money on regular delivery of your CPAP and BiPAP supplies. Call 1-800-815-9947. That's 1-800-815-9947. Or go to cpapsupplyhelpline.com.
Announcing an important breakthrough in healthcare that can benefit everyone. If you or anyone you love needs affordable health insurance, regardless of a pre-existing medical condition, call Quick Insurance 123 today and get the immediate relief you deserve. Quick Insurance 123 was created to provide affordable health insurance to all uninsured Americans, with or without pre-existing conditions. This is not a discount card. This is a real insurance program that lets you choose from many affordable health plans, with access to doctors, hospitals, emergency services, and more. So call the number on your screen now and get the health coverage you need just for calling. As a special bonus, we'll send you a free prescription savings card that could save you up to 85% on your prescriptions. That's right, you could save up to 85% on your prescriptions just for calling. Call Quick Insurance 123 to find out how you can get affordable health insurance and receive your free prescription savings card just for calling. Don't wait. Getting a free quote is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Call today.
Inflammation is public enemy number one when it comes to your health. The more doctors learn about it, the more they realize just how destructive it is. But there is good news. You can reduce the inflammation in your body, by controlling what you eat. Here's our reporter, Lori Johnson, with the lowdown.
No matter what type of health problem you're facing, chances are it began with inflammation. This internal irritation causes our whole body to break down.
Whether you have a wrinkle in your skin caused by an artery being inflamed, or a wrinkle in your heart, a heart attack, or impotence, it's really the same process. And it's all caused, or at least it starts with, that inflammation in your artery.
Dr. Michael Roizen is the chairman of the world-famous Cleveland Clinic's Wellness Institute. He says inflammation is the silent killer that has eluded the medical community for years.
And it's only recently that we've understood that it has a role, and only recently that it has a really important or prominent role in causing diseases such as cancer, or in causing diseases such as heart attacks and strokes, or of causing the infectious diseases getting out of control that we now have.
Doctors know for sure that inflammation causes all kinds of illness. But what causes inflammation? Mostly an unhealthy diet. One that includes sugary drinks, sweet food, and refined carbohydrates such as white bread, pasta, and rice. Also, hydrogenated oils, also known as trans fats, found in packaged foods, fast food, margarine, shortening, and most peanut butter. And the third highly inflammatory food group is omega-6 fats.
Causes your arteries to get inflamed, causes your immune system to get inflamed, and decreases your ability to fight infections, decreases your ability to find cancer cells and get rid of them before they cause cancer, and increases inflammation and atherosclerosis in your arteries. So that's the omega-6s.
Unfortunately, omega-6 fats are everywhere. We cook and bake with them. They're in packaged food, fast food, and restaurant food. But if you know how to spot them on the store shelves and in the list of ingredients, you can avoid them. Omega-6 fats are vegetable oils, such as soybean oil and corn oil, but also peanut oil, grapeseed oil, cottonseed oil, safflower, and sunflower oils. So even though a certain food may contain 0 dangerous trans fats, it may still be a bad choice because it's loaded with inflammatory omega-6 fats. A good example of this is store-bought salad dressing and mayonnaise. The truth is, omega-6 fats are technically okay as long as you eat about the same amount of omega-3 fats. The problem is most Americans eat 25 times more omega-6s than omega-3s, and that imbalance causes massive inflammation. Omega-3 fats mostly come from seafood.
The ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 is important. The higher the ratio, the more omega-6 or the less omega-3, the more inflammation.
There are only a few sources of omega-3 fats. Certain types of fish or fish oil capsules are the best. Other, less potent sources are walnuts, ground flaxseed, dark green leafy vegetables, and eggs fortified with omega-3s. Also, grass-fed meat is higher in omega-3s than grain-fed. Olive oil is a great way to reduce inflammation, even though it's not technically an omega-3, but rather its cousin, omega-9.
Omega-3, omega-7, omega-9, we don't know why the oddness is good, but that oddness means that it decreases inflammation.
But be careful not to get olive oil too hot.
What happens with all the oils once you get above their smoke point is you denature them. That is, you change their character. So instead of having omega-9, they become a different oil, and in fact, they have a different structure that may not be healthy. And in the case of olive oil we don't believe is healthy. So that's why you don't want to go over the smoke point of any of the oils.
So for optimal health, eat an anti-inflammatory diet, one that's low in sugar and other carbohydrates, trans fats, and omega-6 fats, but high in the odd-numbered fats like omega-3 found in fish, omega-7 found in macadamia nuts, and omega-9, which is in olive oil. Lori Johnson, CBN News.
When you're driving along and your cell phone rings, do your eyes instantly go off the road? Then you need to get a grip. Hi, David Jones here with the new GripGo, the most versatile hands-free mount that will instantly grip any phone for safe driving. Just attach the suction cup to your windshield or dash, and GripGo grabs your phone ultra fast. Then it peels right off. And don't worry, there's no sticky residue left behind. The 360-degree pivoting mount allows you to always get the perfect viewing angle. It's even strong enough to grab and hold this expensive smartphone out the window. Yet it comes right off with ease. That's the advantage of GripGo. You can get the amazing GripGo with dashboard mount for only $14.95. We'll send you a second kit free. Just pay separate processing and handling. Get 2 complete GripGo systems for just $14.95.
To order GripGo for $14.95 plus processing and handling, call 1-800-709-5259 or order online at getgripgo.com.
Jim is 38, mortgage, married, 3 great kids. He wants to protect his family with a $500,000 term life insurance policy. What do you think it'll cost him? $100 a month? 60? 40? Actually, none of the above. Jim can get a $500,000 policy from a highly rated insurer for under $19 a month. His secret? SelectQuote. SelectQuote is impartial. They'll comparison shop the pick of insurance companies like these to give you a choice of your best prices. SelectQuote has great savings on term life for women, too. Jim's wife, Deidre, can get a $500,000 policy for under $16 a month. SelectQuote has helped make term life insurance affordable for hundreds of thousands of people since 1985. How about you? Just call this number or go to SelectQuote.com. SelectQuote. We shop, you save.
A 4th grade fashionista left the classroom to learn an important lesson about bullying. The education came courtesy of a thrift store. 10-year-old Kaylee Lindstrom was teasing a fellow student about her old clothes. When her parents heard about it, they took action by taking her on a different kind of shopping spree.
She needed to know how inappropriate she was behaving. We really think if you felt how this little girl feels, you might have a little empathy for her.
For 2 days, Kaylee had to wear thrift store clothes. She says she was teased but learned a valuable lesson. It's not what's on the outside that matters. Lesson learned. Well, that is going to do it for this edition of the CBN News Channel. You can find more of our exclusive coverage of the issues you care most about at cbnnews.com. And take the time to tell us what you think about the stories you've seen right here today. You can do that on Facebook or at CBN News on Twitter. Hope you'll join us again right here next time. Have a terrific Tuesday, everybody.
If you had a choice between going bald and a full head of hair, which would you choose? Advances in medical science have resulted in the world's first and only permanent solution to hair loss.
Yes!
You wash it, you cut it. It's your own real, naturally growing hair. When it comes to hair restoration, no one in the world has more experience than Bosley. The results look completely natural and are affordable on nearly any budget. But the entire process can't be explained in 60 brief seconds. So to find out more about this clinically proven and permanent solution to hair loss, call now to receive your free no-obligation information kit. It'll answer all of your questions about hair loss and hair restoration. Plus, we'll also send you this $250 gift certificate just for calling. Every day you wait, you're losing more hair. So don't put it off any longer. You owe it to yourself to find out the facts. Choose hair. Choose Bosley.
Call 800-868-9957. That's 800-868-9957. Introducing the CBN Bible from CBN.com. Now, an easier way to study the Bible and grow in your faith. Highlight your favorite verse. Read separate versions at a glance. click and read a commentary, or cross-reference your favorite verse using the Strong's Concordance. All the right tools to study the Bible, all in one place. The CBN Bible, available at cbn.com/Bible or the iTunes App Store.